So next we will go to speak to some wonderful folks from Hamilton who will tell us how this looks like in practice on the ground in their community. I will turn this over to folks from ACORN Hamilton, so Olivia and Stewart, as well as Clare from Hamilton Community Legal Clinic.
Yeah, hello. My name is Stewart. I'm a local advocate in Hamilton and the chair of ACORN Hamilton's East End chapter. For those of us who are unfamiliar with us, ACORN Canada, the Association of Community Organizations for Reform Now, was founded in 2004. It is an independent grassroots organization that fights for social and economic justice for low and moderate income communities. So, where did our maximum heat campaign get started? Extreme heat is a growing issue for tenants. For years, tenants have been raising the alarm on unsafe conditions in rental housing during hot summer months. Currently, there are no laws provincially nor municipally requiring access to cooling or that indoor temperatures do not exceed a certain amount. The ongoing climate crisis will mean that heat events will continue to increase in intensity, duration, and frequency. It is well documented that those disproportionately affected by heat-related deaths and illness are seniors, people with disabilities, as well as low-income, racialized, and tenant communities. So as the impacts of climate change worsen, Ontario will see an increase in the number of days over 30 degrees centigrade, an increase in the frequency and duration of heat waves, an increase in the length of the hot season. Extreme heat can also have severe consequences for people, especially vulnerable and marginalized populations. It can also be lethal. Some of the effects on the body include things like muscle spasms, fatigue, heat stroke, decreased cognitive ability. Although extreme heat can be deadly and certainly is every year, we have no way of knowing just how deadly it is, as heat-related deaths are not tracked or recorded in Ontario. So now I will pass over to Clare Freemen, who is from the Hamilton Community Legal Clinic.
Hi, everyone. I think that our role is really in supporting ACORN's advocacy that they have been doing. And we were really pleased when Sela reached out to us to collaborate with them. I think having a specialty clinic that can really help draft the bylaw and do all those things while we're doing, if you want to call it everyday tenant work, was really, really helpful in helping us push this forward. But without the voice of tenants, I just don't think that that's the only way to go. You definitely need to hear from tenants about what the lived experience is. And ACORN is an incredible group that is making sure that policymakers are hearing that. So we do poverty law, as some people will call it, housing, income support, employment, and immigration. We view that housing is a human right and a public health issue. We engage with health, and health right now is going into some reform about doing health equity. They're also looking at their own if they want to call it, utilization of services, and they're looking for ways to not have so many people come into their health stuff. So we want to make sure that if people are living healthy in their own space, then it can help with increasing people's health and also right to housing. There's a really amazing report that was done by the Intact Center on Climate Adaptation at the University of Waterloo. I really suggest people look at it. It's an awesome report. And basically it recognized Hamilton as the second highest community that will be experiencing the increase of global warming. So that is a reason for us to take a lead on it. We know that Hamilton will have increased heating and global warming just because of our location, also the industry that we've had in Hamilton for a long period of time. We also know that Hamilton has a high pollution rate, so therefore we have a number of people in Hamilton who have a higher than level chronic respiratory illnesses, COPDs being one of them. Lung cancer is also a big issue in Hamilton. We also know that folks who are living in older housing tend to be in certain areas of town, but also that low-income housing and health conditions sometimes go together. And sometimes the housing units themselves are older, and so therefore they in themselves are not properly insulated, have old heating systems and whatnot, and they don't have air conditioning going on within them. So the cooling centers, Hamilton, I'm just going to say Hamilton also as a community council voted on that they needed to address issues of climate change, and housing was part of it. So they do have something that they're working on, and they were looking at excessive indoor temperatures in rental housing. That is one of their ideas. So we basically jumped on that piece as well. And we also used Hamilton's own data around public health that actually recognizes the health impacts of folks during heating situations. Hamilton is looking at, and lots of communities are looking at, cooling stations. Our position is that cooling stations are not accessible to all folks, and is particularly if you have comorbidity, health issues or disabilities or seniors, that having someone get on a bus to go to a cooling center when they're already not being able to sleep is really not a good housing solution. But I understand that that's one that's being put forward. Another one that's being put forward is the idea that, you know, they'll have cooling centers in a building, which again could lead to issues such as safety for some folks. Not all neighbors get along with neighbors, but also what we're seeing is that they want to put them in places like a basement with no windows or any of those things. So we're really trying to not have that be part of the solution long term. And basically, I think that what we did is we worked with the counselors, we met with them individually. We presented both the, you know, statistics of why Hamilton needed to do this, why it was important to dignity of both public health and housing. But also with CELA bringing forth the bylaw in all the other areas, I think that it allowed us to go further. And I think we're happy with the results that we got. We got everyone to agree to it. But I want to turn it back over to Olivia to go and speak more about it.
So I'll actually be taking over again.
Sorry, Stewart.
That's okay, not a problem. So we launched our campaign with our Beat the Heat rally in September of 2022 at Hamilton City Hall. We brought the following demands to the city. First demand was for the city of Hamilton to develop and implement a maximum heat bylaw for rental housing. The bylaw to apply to all rental housing, all densities, both market and social housing. The city to consult with tenant organizations and health professionals to determine the maximum temperature for the bylaw. 26 degrees has been recognized by others as a maximum suitable indoor temperature to, you know, for 99% of people to be healthy at. And the bylaw also to be supported by Hamilton's licensing department to ensure landlord compliance, and similar to Hamilton's minimum heat bylaw in the winter, there to be a financial penalty for landlords who fail to comply with the maximum heat bylaw. Another demand was for the city of Hamilton to develop a municipal program to support retrofits of market rental housing, especially older market rental housing stock. Similar to the development of the home retrofit program for homeowners, Hamilton needs a program for landlords to reduce energy consumption and retrofit older market affordable housing stock to adapt to hotter climates. And also another demand was for the city of Hamilton to expand measures in community and public spaces for Hamilton residents to keep cool when outside the home. So things like more drinking fountains, more splash pads, improvements to Hamilton's tree canopy, especially in low and moderate income tenant communities. Our campaign did initially include a demand for heat-related deaths and illnesses to be tracked. ACORN Hamilton wrote to and subsequently met with the Chief Coroner of Ontario to discuss this. Unfortunately, the result was the Chief Coroner explaining, as best as they tried, that collecting this type of information was not feasible for their office. So we were somewhat disappointed with that result. We also met with local council members, and we had a lot of media coverage. After the election, ACORN Hamilton started meeting with city councilors at the municipal election, that is. So we met with 12 of the 15 councilors between the fall of 2022 and May 2023. Both the Canadian Environmental Law Association and the Hamilton Community Legal Clinic joined these meetings with us to impress upon councillors the severity of the issue and why it warranted municipal attention. Over this time, we also received a lot of media coverage, including 900 CHML, Global National, CBC Ontario Today, CBC The National, TVO, CBC Ottawa Morning. There was lots of media coverage locally and nationally. There was a public health committee meeting on May 15th, 2023. At that meeting, 6 ACORN members and 6 allied environmental and community groups delegated to the committee to call on the City of Hamilton to pass policies to protect tenants from extreme heat. During the meeting, Ward 2 Councillor Kretsch brought forward a motion seconded by Ward 4 Councillor Huang that passed unanimously, 10-0. The motion directed staff to prepare a report for a maximum heat bylaw in time to be included in the 2024 budget and implemented by summer of 2024. And for staff in the Healthy and Safe Communities Committee to be directed to report back on the feasibility of the development of a municipal program to support low-income tenants with the costs associated with running air conditioning units and to support retrofits of private rentals. So that brings us to today and looking forward. On October 18th, the Office of Climate Change Initiatives did a presentation to Council about the city's climate adaptation actions. The presentation listed that licensing and bylaw services, along with public health, will prepare an adequate heat bylaw for City Council to review and approve within the first quarter of 2024. ACORN Hamilton will be following the development of the bylaw very closely to ensure that it meets the community's needs and that it has all of the different parts of the framework that we want it to have. For example, the type of air conditioning that gets installed. We have concerns about that. We don't want window units. We don't want inefficient portable units. The ideal solution here would be for split systems, which is basically a mini central air system, and those can also be traditional heat pumps that work in both ways, move heat in either direction, either in or out. However, when dealing with older market rental housing stock, the heat pump is less concerning than just getting the air conditioning in, because these already have like established heating systems, and those would need to be entirely replaced, which isn't always feasible. So also recently, ACORN Hamilton, along with other groups led by local climate change group Hamilton 350, signed a joint letter for the city to make transit free on extreme heat days. This is now being investigated for feasibility for the summer of 2024 as well. So want to say thank you very much to the Low Income Energy Network for organizing today's conference. We're very grateful to be connected with organizations and individuals across the country working on this issue. If you want to get in touch with ACORN Hamilton, please feel free to email us or send us a message on social media, Facebook, Twitter, probably other places, but I don't know those ones. So, and I will now pass it back to Avi. Thank you very much.